Let's go to war!
Hi and welcome to the fourth video in the series of how to play NUTS, a skirmish war game set in World War II and produced by 2 Hour Wargames. In the last few videos we've seen how insight checks work, how suppression fire works, how movement occurs, how shooting is done, and how the effects of shooting are resolved. I've taken the activation this turn for the German team, and I will now be taking the activation for the Americans. I've explained in the last video that I intend to get Abel up to the wall to grenade these Germans, while myself and Charlie hold in position and get ready to give covering fire. Don't forget Engels is ducked back. He is still not visible. So let's begin. Let's start with Abel moving forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Infantry can move 8 inches in NUTS. However, they can also fast move, and that counts like a sprint. You roll 2 dice 6. If both dice pass the rep, you can move an additional 8 inch. If one dice passes the rep, you move an additional 4 inches. I'm going to try and fast move with Abel. Roll 2 dice 6. 5 and a 1. I pass 1 dice 6, so I move 4 extra. 1, 2, 3. So I'm right behind the wall where Comrade and Beck are hiding. I now have to ready a grenade, which is another 2 dice 6 check against my rep. A 2 and a 2 means I pass 2 dice 6, the grenade is ready and can be thrown. I now chuck it over the wall. A 5 and a 6. I pass 0 dice 6 and drop the grenade. This is just one of those games, isn't it? Well, all is not completely lost. I get to roll 1 dice 6 against my rep. I roll a 3, it's less than my 4. I drop prone and escape damage. However, I'm now stuck on the end of a wall, behind a wall, with a light machine gun about to pop up behind it. Oh well, never mind. I'm going to mark him with a green. Let's do it with a blue, because it stands out more against the grassy background, to show he's prone. Baker and Charlie are going to stay put in cover and hope they can lay down enough fire to keep Abel safe. That ends the turn, having both sides had their activations, and we'll go to another set of activation rolls. The Americans roll a 3 and the Germans roll a 1. I get to go first this time. Abel will do his best to ready another grenade. 5 and a 4. He passes 1 dice 6. That allows him to use the grenade in reaction. So if they pop up and he passes his insight check, he'll be able to throw that grenade as a reaction. That's going to be really handy. Now, do note that although I rolled a 3 for US activation, both Abel, who is now a separate group from Charlie and myself, can activate, because his rep is 4. It's higher than the activation. Charlie and myself We have no targets, and I don't want to move out of cover. Our guns are in range. I'd rather wait it out. Now, Engels. Engels is going to step out to see what's going on. That's going to trigger an insight check with Charlie and myself, not with Abel, who is still ducked under the wall. He's no longer prone, so let's take that off. But he's ducked under the wall. He has not showed himself. So, Charlie and myself. I'm on automatic pass, but what about Charlie? Charlie gets a 6 and a 4 and will fail, which means he will duck back in fright at the sight of Engels. However, I offer him a leadership dice, which is a pass. It's a pass 1 die 6, and therefore Charlie is able to snap fire because he's allowed to count my leadership dice pass as one of his own passes. No, I only roll the leadership dice once, and if it's successful, it applies to all tests that are affected by a leadership dice in that turn. So, Charlie fires twice, 1, 2, both missing, and I fire 3 times. 1, 2, 3. All 3 missing. However, Engels must make a receive fire test, failing, 0 die 6. That causes him to retire. That's like having his morale broken. He moves away 12 inches into cover. So let's get him to the back of the house. He then hunkers down. What hunker down means is he remains in that hunkered down state until he is rallied by another person on his side, or he is forced to retire again, in which case he routs off the board. Wrong button. And let's mark him with an orange token to show he is hunkered down. Now he was in this square, 1, 2, 3, 4. Conrad and Beck were within line of sight of him, so they must take a receive fire test as well. And the receive fire test was 4 and 4. Conrad breaks, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and hunkers down next to Engels, whereas Beck passes 2 die 6. Beck would normally return fire because he passed 2d6. However, his light machine gun is not set up. Because he's now missing a crew member, because Conrad ran off, it's going to take him 2 turns to set it up. As soon as he begins setting up the machine gun, which is what he will do, he's going to trigger a insight check with Abel. Let's take Abel's insight check. A 4 and a 2 is a pass 2d6. He's allowed to fire, and he lobs that hand grenade over the wall. Passes 2d6, it lands over the wall and explodes right next to Beck. Let's roll the damage for Beck. A 2, Beck is out of the fight. Wrong button again. Token button. Red dot. Now, that is going to end the turn for everybody. And in the final video, we'll wrap everything up, summarize, and explain to you how the scenario ended.
Until next time.